I apologize, I'm a little nervous. First off, I'd like to thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Brady Gessner. I am 16 years old. I have a younger brother whose name is Carson, and an older sister who is 28 and married. And I'm happy to say that I'm going to be an uncle in March. I currently go to Bow Valley High School and I'm in grade 11, and I'm hoping to pursue sports therapy after high school. I am a defenseman for the Bow Valley Timberwolves Midget AA hockey team here in Cochrane, and I am active in leadership within my school as well as an extracurricular leadership program called Rocky View School's Leadership Academy. And tonight I'm going to be sharing my story with you. From a young age, my dad was diagnosed with a rare blood disorder when he was 18, and so this caused him to have multi-system organ failure. He was training for the Olympics and swimming at the time, and unfortunately he had to stop because of it. It was a miracle that he survived because they didn't know what he had at first, and when they ended up finding out what he had HES, and there was only 51 people in the world with it. And so for my whole life, my dad was always in the hospital, and so my family and I had to make the hospital as fun as we possibly could. The nurses knew us by names and would introduce and would say hi to us by our names every single time. We would get extra treats, and a particular nurse named Raph would carry my brother and I on his shoulders while he just did his daily work. We climbed statues in the hospital, we rode his IV pole, you name it, we did it. During this time I met Nadine at Hospice Calgary. I was angry, and I didn't understand my emotions and why this was happening to us. And so she let me talk. And so, for example, we would build towers out of Lego, and I'd try to make it to the roof. Unfortunately, I never did make it to the roof, but I would then knock them down. And then that would be me getting all my negative energy out, and we'd talk about it, so then I'd be able to understand it. But most importantly, she helped prepare me that my dad was going to pass away. We got invited to do a program at Hospice Calgary where we got to meet other families who had also lost a parent, and so the parents would split up and they would go do their activities, and the kids would split up and go do theirs, and then at the end we'd all come together for oh, that's why it's in the wrong order. My bad. So, unfortunately, my dad's health eventually got to the point where he passed away on April 25th, 2012. It was due to a heart infection. It was a week after my 9th birthday. I felt that this was very unfair. I didn't understand. And once again, why me? Why us? When in reality, this happens to many different families. At Hospice Calgary, we got to go meet other families and do our activities with the parents. Parents would do their activities, the kids would do their activities, and then we would all meet up for a dinner at the end all together. We could go there whenever we needed, and so this was a very good place for us to get help. They helped us create memories when we were going through a hard time. Shortly after my dad passed away, my mom got a new boyfriend. His name was Jordan. I hated him. We argued. He wasn't my dad. I didn't want him to replace him. I didn't know how to let him into my life. And so, our arguing was hard on everybody, especially my mother. And we started to notice this, so we started to make an effort to get close. And it took lots of time, but I'm happy to say I could consider him my best friend. He taught me lots of chores, and he taught me lots of life lessons, and taught me how to do chores, laundry, cooking, shave, cleaning. We even had fun together. We went out to West Edmonton Mall one year for my brother's birthday party, and we all went down the water slides as a family. He introduced me to many different types of music, and he would come to my hockey tournaments and support my brother and I. But we later learned that he was addicted to cocaine and opioids. And so I was angry and I was hurt again. I didn't know if I could trust him. He would go away to treatment, and then he'd come back. He would go away, he'd come back, he'd go away, and then he'd come back again. He kept making promises he couldn't keep. But he was my stepdad, and I loved him. And so I didn't know what to do. Unfortunately, he died of an overdose on February 24th of 2018, and I never got the chance to say goodbye. It happened during one of my hockey games, and I remember my mom leaving, and I started losing my mind on the bench, because why would you leave my hockey game, of course? And I later found out after the game, when I was losing it, that my stepdad had passed away. And so, once again, I was lost, confused, angry, hurt, and I didn't know what to do with myself. My grandparents were always there for me, there for my family through good times and bad. And in particular, my grandpa was one of the most hardworking men I've ever met within my life. He taught me the differences between right and the differences between wrong. He showed me what it meant to give back to my community, because community was a big value within his life. But my family and I slowly started to watch him change as time went on, and his memories started to fade away. And so this is when we learned that he had Alzheimer's. He still came to my hockey games, he still made me laugh, but then he forgot who I was. And so when you know somebody your whole life and then you're gone just like that, that's hard on you. And so we had to put him into a care facility. I hated that. I didn't like the fact that we needed other people to have to take care of him. I didn't know why we couldn't just do it. I was angry at everybody. I was angry at my mom, angry at my grandma, absolutely everybody. And so, even though I was mad, I would still go visit him. And every time in there, I would leave crying and losing my mind. And I didn't feel that this was fair, because once again, another person in my family was slowly dying. Eventually, his Alzheimer's got to the point where he passed away on September 15th of 2018, and now all the big male figures within my life are dead. And so, I was confused, mad, angry, sad, all of it. Sometimes I get so angry to the point where I feel like I'm going to explode. Sometimes I'm so overwhelmed I don't know what to do with myself. I feel anxious and worry about everything sometimes. I care about being good at school, being good at hockey, being a good friend, being a good brother, being a good son, and being a good teammate. Because of my sad situations within my life, a lot of important people came into my life, and because of those people, they gave me opportunities that have allowed me to share my story. I try to give back by sharing my story, because I feel that it's very important for people to be able to talk. Nadine, my counselor, she's been with me for over 10 years, and now she's the director of the Children's Grief Center in Calgary, but she still sees me to this day. She's been there through good times, through bad, and has helped me to recognize my feelings. I want to be able to help others not feel alone like I felt when I was going through all this. One year my family and I got invited to be the ambassadors for the Hike for Hospice, and what that meant was we got to lead the hike at the front, and that was just an amazing opportunity to see everybody come together and support us. This past December, I got invited to speak at a Chaz fundraiser for the Children's Grief Center, and I spoke in front of over 550 people and raised over $75,000 for the Children's Grief Center. We met the Kimmett family, who sponsors my family for hockey, and so they sponsored my brother and I for 1 year, and then they decided to sponsor me and my brother for the rest of our minor hockey careers, and we wouldn't be able to play hockey without them, and so we're ever so thankful for that. I got picked to participate in the Tim Hortons Children's Foundation Leadership Camp, and so every summer for the past 5 years, I've been going to camp. And so I've been to Camp Onondaga Farms in Ontario, Camp Whiteshell in Manitoba, and Camp Kananaskis here in Alberta. I'm excited to say that I can be a camp counselor after my level 5 year this summer. We got featured in the Kraft Hometown Hockey for Lindsay's Kids on TSN and got the chance to go speak on stage about Lindsay's Kids in front of thousands of people here in Cochrane. We also got invited to attend the Travis Hamnick D-Partner program with the Calgary Flames, and he lost his dad when he was 8 years old. He understood me. I had somebody that knew what it was like to go through this. And so he shared his story of strengths, sadness, and his main message for me was to be good to my brother and my mother. After my dad passed away, my school and hockey communities made lunches and dinners for months to come for us. And they would drive us to practice if needed, drive us to games, and they would help out in any possible way that they could. They cared about us. At school, I decided to connect to my guidance counselors and my teachers, and I got introduced to a man named Andrew Castinas. He's a healthy relationships counselor within my school, who I see every Wednesday. Me and him particularly work through my anger, and so he helps me learn strategies to cope better. And he has helped me link the root of my anger, mainly to my grief. As I said, I'm in leadership at my school and RVLA, and that is a program that is offered all throughout Rocky View schools. During one of the sessions, I saw a speaker by the name of Dave Conlon, who taught me about different anger styles, and I recognized myself to be a firecracker. And so what that means is I hold everything in, and then, boom, I blow up. So with the help of Miss Carlson, we came up with the concept of the Firecracker traffic light. And this is what I use to help explain to others what I need and what's happening when I'm getting riled up slowly. So you start at a green light. I'm very easygoing, I'm calm, I'm pretty chill, like I'm fun to be around, and usually there's nothing really bugging me. But then from there you work your way up to a yellow light. A yellow light, you're irritated, there's something bugging you. It may be noticeable to others, but sometimes it's not. But from there you make your way up to the red light. So the red is where this firecracker has exploded, and that's when you need to watch out for me, because I am explosive, I am loud, angry, I can't stop, I can't think straight, I just need to get it all out. I play competitive hockey, and even my anger gets the best of me there. I'd like to be a captain one day for my last year of hockey, because I'd like to try and be a leader and be positive and keep my team in a good mood, even though our season may not be the best. I ref hockey to give back to the hockey community for all they've done for me, and because I love hockey, and yes, you get extra money from it, but I like going out there and seeing all the kids. It's fun. I do school sports, such as track and field and soccer. In the summer, I do obstacle course races, such as Spartan Race. And I particularly like doing runs for causes. 2 years ago, I got the chance to run in the Von Sawchuk Foundation run out in Airdrie, and that really opened my eyes as to you can do lots of things for a cause, big or small. Through RBLA, I got the chance to do a Rocky Talk, which is kind of like a TED Talk style event like this. It was only 5 minutes, and from there I learned I like to share my story. Giving back and being a part of the community is very important to me for everything they've done to me. I'm very passionate about being a good community member and giving back to the community in any way that I can. And so I do that by trying to be the best version of myself. And being the best version of myself to me means that for me to be proud of myself and being able to look at myself in the mirror at the end of the day and say that I made a difference in someone's life. Making a difference to me doesn't have to be something huge. It could be something as simple as saying, hello, how was your day? Because I find that if I waste a lot of my time trying to do something big, when I could have done many different small things and made the exact same difference, but in more people's lives, one person's life, it doesn't matter. I try to be positive and keep a positive outlook on life, because when I focus on negatives, it stops me from moving forward. And when I stay positive, it allows me to stay calm and not get mad as easily. I find that life is a gift, and if I were to stay mad my whole life, well, a lot of my life would already be wasted. I want to be able to thrive within life. I practice being the best version of myself by just being me. And by being me, I follow my 3 core values. And my 3 core values in life are respect, family, and fairness. And so when going through life, things combat your values and you get mad. But I have to be able to work around that and not let that get the best of me. And so I struggle with mental health and emotions, and so emotions and mental health are real. I strongly encourage people to be able to speak out about their emotions because from my experiences, it has helped me. It allows me to get them out and be an outlet. And so with that, I want to say thank you to Marnie for inviting me out here to share my story, and I want to thank all of you for listening to my story.